Ian Lees-Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. This bill and the 17-hour-long marathon debate that we have had around it is emblematic of the state of this government. They are in a total shambles. There is no way back in 2008 that the national government would have allowed the mess that this bill has become for them to occur. They are completely out of control. It's not just Nick Smith who's out of control, it's the whole national government, utterly shambolic. They're also completely out of touch because they think they're doing a good job on housing. They've absolutely convinced themselves that they are doing a good job. They think that having 42,000 people homeless in New Zealand is doing a good job. They think that having average house prices in Auckland of $1 million is doing a good job. They are completely out of touch with reality. And of course, what we've known all along, and this bill simply has underlined, is that the National Party is utterly incapable of dealing with homelessness and housing affordability.
That's right.
They do not have an answer to it because they know what has to be done. They know what has to be done. They know that we are not going to solve this issue without a massive effort from the government. But it simply is not in the National Party's DNA to do that. They know it's the right thing to do, but they are religiously, ideologically stuck to the doctrine of free markets, and they cannot bring themselves to do what is necessary. The Labour Party and the Green Party and New Zealand First all brought amendments that would make real differences to housing affordability. We brought an amendment to say, let's introduce our Kiwi Build program. Let's build 10,000 affordable homes a year. Then we said, let's extend the Bright Line test. Let's discourage speculation in the housing market by actually taxing the capital gains that people make on speculation. Then we said, let's tighten up foreign investment. Then we said, let's have a national policy statement on urban development. And then the Greens said, let's stop taking a profit from Housing New Zealand and invest that money back into building more social housing. And then we said, let's make sure that we don't have any fewer than 8,000 places for emergency housing. And on every single one of those proposals, the National Party said no. No to building affordable houses, no to taxing capital gains, no to tightening up foreign investment, no to a national policy statement, no to stopping the profit taking from Housing New Zealand, and no to making sure that we have adequate emergency housing, because it's just not in their DNA. They are simply not capable of doing it because their mates are doing very nicely out of the current situation, and they are beholden to those people. The handful of people at the top, the ones who are doing well, the ones who are getting the wage increases, the ones who are benefiting from capital gains, the speculators, the foreign investors, that's who supports the National Party, and that's who the National Party works for. And that's why they have failed to do one thing in this piece of legislation that will actually address the issues of housing affordability. And that is why in New Zealand right now we have the lowest rate of home ownership since the 1950s. That's the reality. This government is so out of touch, they refuse to acknowledge it, but that's the reality for people. They can't afford to buy their first home. Some people can't even afford to rent a home, so they're living in cars, or they're living in garages, or they squeeze their whole family into somebody else's living room. But the National Party doesn't want to know that because it doesn't fit their ideology to do something about it. It doesn't fit their doctrine to do something about it because they're absolutely straitjacketed by their adherence to free markets. Mr. Speaker, There is a difference between this side of the House and that side of the House. There is a difference between Labour, the Greens, and sometimes with us New Zealand First, and the National Party. And New Zealanders need to know that difference, and I thank the National Party for giving us this opportunity to demonstrate the clear difference between them and us. And I say to New Zealand, if you want a solution to homelessness, then it's quite simple: change the government.
Mr. Speaker.